And a happy Friday, everybody. A very happy Friday. Not as happy for us Mets fans, although we will get to hear the voice on my right more often after the 2026 season, which isn't a bad thing, but we will miss Howie Rose. As good timing here to have Keith. I asked Keith to come on the other day. He has to keep a secret for a while, and now the cat's out of the bag. Howie Rose is calling it a career after the 2026 season. We aren't calling a career here on Mets Daily. You could always hit that thumbs up. You can subscribe to the video below, and you can go follow me at Jake Brown Live. Joining us is Mets Radio Voice on Odyssey Mets Radio 880. That's Keith RAAD. Keith, welcome back to the program. Man, we got a lot to dive into. Obviously, I want to do season preview and stuff, but Howie putting out the video yesterday, he will only call home games and the Subway Series along with the playoffs. Fingers crossed that the Mets give him that trip down the Canyon of Heroes. And, tell us when you knew, your reaction, the message you sent him. Just give us all the info.
Yeah, so I've known this is good timing on your part, getting me on here the day after. But about a month ago, we were down in spring training, and Howie told me he actually was doing. If you saw the minor league facility being built, that little ceremony that they had, I saw him on the way out, and he goes, "Here, read this," and he was literally carrying the script that he was going to go walk to film that we all watched yesterday, and I was just stunned. Now I've known him for now going on 4 years working with him, so I kind of knew it was coming, and I knew he was going to come to his decision, in a good spot with his fastball. But I just once we all heard yesterday, I'm announcing my retirement. It didn't feel real. I got emotional, goosebumps. It was surreal because he means so much to you. It doesn't even have to be the major calls that he's made, and he's made unbelievable magical calls. It's like your favorite band. Like that sound takes you back to a place that no one else can ever take you back to. And it sucks because I love working with him. He's hilarious. He's amazing. I mean, Jake, you've been around him, but he's all been part of our lives in so many different ways for so many years and so many different mediums, pre, post, TV, radio, on-field ceremonies. So it's I'm happy for him, but it really sucks. It sucks to miss on Howie Rose. This is one last ride that we're all gonna remember.
Yeah, and I did a video yesterday about not only just the games and everything, but the Master of Ceremonies. And, my home opener tradition will be year 23 in a row with my dad this year. And, I joked about my personal story where he asked for my mom's number in '83 at the Toyota dealership in Queens. And, it's either Jake Rose, it's either I'm not alive. Maybe the next voice of the Mets. Maybe I'm taking your job if I was his son. But that didn't happen because he texted my mom too late. But Howie had some Riz at that Toyota dealership in the early 80s. And he's had some Riz in the booth. I mean, just his style, the way he calls a game, his knowledge. I mean, when you think of the Mets, you think Gary Cohen and Howie Rose. And everyone talks about SMY, Gary, Keith, and Ron. The OG was Howie Rose and Fran Healy. And really, it was Howie in that TV booth. And then, Gary, Keith, and Ron put him in that radio booth where he cemented himself. And, talk about just how he calls a game, how he articulates a game. And maybe have you taken a few, I'm sure you have taken a few notes from, sitting alongside him and how to call a game yourself.
Yeah, it's hard not to call this a masterclass. What it's been for the last 4 years, sitting next to him, it's been, by osmosis. He'll teach in a sense where I'll come off of an inning and he'll say, hey, I heard this, I like this, keep doing that, or tweak this and that. But mostly it's been just being around him and soaking up the sponge that is working with him. And one of the best qualities that he has, and he has so many of them, the one that sticks out to me that I think guys like even Wayne Randazzo picked up is building the moment, right? The best part about the Pete Alonso home run in Milwaukee was the Pete Alonso home run in Milwaukee, but listening to the build up and him on deck, him getting closer, how he's telling the story, taking you back to his free agent year, and is this going to be his last swing? Like building that drama he's unbelievable at that, and I've tried to steal that little by little, and understand that he's looking forward. So if there's a big part of the game late and somebody just got a key base hit, as an analyst, you're kind of thinking, oh, let's break down that hit. But in his mind, he's thinking, what's next? Who's coming up next? Let's advance the story further. So things like that really transformed me and thinking differently and calling the game differently. That as I go on in my career, I mean, he'll be in there. He'll be banging around between my ears for the rest of my life at some of the things that he's taught me. But the way he calls the game, he's so super prepared. We joke like, Howie, you're in the Hall of Fame, right? You can roll out of bed and do this game with no prep. But he gets in there at 3. He's got a pen and paper. He's doing notes. He's prepping. He's studying for a test every night. That's what we call it. And the fact that he's just put so much into it is why he's cut back in the last few years, 81 games, 84 games, because he gives his all to every game. He can only give his all to so many games. I mean, the amount of prep that he does. So never short on that. And even when he does prep, he'll pull out, Mets from the 60s and 70s that you didn't even hear of. Stories he'll tell you just roll off the tongue. Irreplaceable. And that's the other thing too, is people come and ask me like, how do you feel like you could replace Howie Rose? Like nobody on the planet can replace Howie Rose. There is no, oh, we'll just get this person to do it. Like it's impossible. Gary's in that same vein. Like we've been so blessed to have these guys with us telling us the story, and that's why they are who they are, because they are irreplaceable.
Have they talked, and has Howie talked with you about that plan of replacing him? Like, I assume it's you and Pat McCarthy. Is that, is Odyssey posting a job, like, or is it you two, which I think is great, but have they notified you of the 2027 and beyond plan? Because I guess part of it is starting in 2026 because Howie's calling no road games outside of the Subway Series.
Yeah, so when Pat and I got hired, we started to do more and more and more road games. I think Howie did 120, then 100, and now he's at 80. So we've been together for the last 4 years, 3 years, doing a majority, it feels like, of the road games. But don't know what the plan is. We're going to do this year and see where it lies. But once, I remember in the job interview process, just on myself, I can't speak for Pat's what they told Pat, but it was the person in this job. We want to grow into it, and then see what we have. And if Howie ever retires, we'll see what we have. So we're enjoying the ride. We're going to enjoy it, but there's no plan yet moving forward. We're just going to see what 2026 is all about.
And are you doing, how many games are you doing this year?
162.
You're doing every one. Wow.
Yeah, I've been doing every one for the last.
Your
first
poor
year
wife.
I missed a couple of days because of the birth of my daughter, but I had to be there. So sorry, but I've made 162 for the last 2 years. So trying to go 3 years in a row here.
Wow, that's impressive. You're going on a run here. How many, like, are you going to go on one of those Cal Ripken runs of like 10 years of 162 in a row?
No, it is a bummer. Like you miss barbecues and parties, and that stuff's fine. Like that's just part of the job. The players do the same thing. The ones that kill me are like the weddings and the moments that will, I liken it to like if I'm on my deathbed, would I rather have called Mets Reds in 2026? I can't even tell you the final score, or like my best friend's wedding. So I will miss when it's time to miss, but I guess if I haven't missed for your wedding, maybe you're not worth it. But
I was gonna say there's certain weddings I would definitely miss for Mets Reds on a front Saturday night with a Skyline chili.
At Mets Reds because of that.
I'm like, which friends would I not care enough about their wedding, or their one plate is just not serviceable enough at that wedding? By the way, weddings need to be buffet. I'm sorry, that's there's a take. My mom's having her 70th birthday. They get the one plate for $100 plate. I'm like, buffet, just make it a high quality buffet, because you're not going to satisfy everyone with one. I eat that one plate. I'm like, feed me more. Like, I come to the wedding to eat and drink, not to eat a overpriced piece of asparagus. Like, you got to give me a little bit more than the one plate. Anyway.
I'm with you.
Yeah,
we like to eat, you and I, so we share that.
Yeah, well, that's another topic I want to hit. We've done a food review. I think I brought you the cinnamon nachos or something. I think the cinnamon
nachos, and then we devoured is it Pat LaFrida burger? Of
some sort? That burger was incredible.
Right outside the booth. Yes, it was.
I forget if it was Pat LaFrida. Yeah, it might have been a Pat LaFrida. No, it might have been. Yeah, I forget the name of the burger. There's so many new food items this year. I want to talk about that as well, but. What did Howie eat? Like, I feel like he's a hot dog guy, but like, does he eat those extravagant? Because he's so old school. And I felt it was very interesting that he mentioned kind of like Florida's my home now. Like, there were reasons outside of baseball, and obviously getting old is part of it, but maybe want to be away from New York. New York is, has changed a lot. But the food thing, like, is like he seems like a 9 hot dog, 9 beer, 9 inning kind of guy.
Well, that's good. He probably was, but as he says, in his words, my boiler just can't handle that anymore. But but Howie keeps really healthy. I mean, he's in good shape. I mean, he's 72. He looks 15 years younger than that. He's skinny. He keeps himself healthy. But what I will miss is that he's a big fan of sushi. So every Sunday day game, usually they have breakfast in the media room, and it's we don't really want an omelet on a Sunday. Sometimes you do, but we always share a sushi platter that we get sent up, which is always the best. But he takes care of himself. He's always got a salad. But yeah, all these things is I'm trying not to think about how much I will miss them in the future, but I will just savor them this year for the last time.
Listen, let out the tears if you got. I shed a few tears yesterday when he made the
Hard not
announcement,
to.
watching the video. I did. What made me emotional was watching the press conference and him talking about his dad and how his dad has not been there for these moments. He broke down because his dad's what got him in baseball. And as someone, my dad got me into baseball, and we do our home opener tradition now. It's pretty much the only game he now goes to, which is why it's kind of extra cool. It's like, all right, the one game. Let's get field level. Let me eat whatever I want, and we'll see you next year. But he grew up going with his pops and hasn't got to see him make any of these calls. So, that's the one thing he said that, kind of makes him sad. So that was definitely the most emotional part. And I think what's been cool about him is that he's not just like the Mets. Like, he called Islanders. He called the Meteau call. He was a host. He was an integral host on WFAN at the start of the station, which people don't even realize. My dad always mentions Iron Eagle started in 2020 updates on the Fan, and now he is what he is. Pretty much Howie Rose is the same. He started
Right.
on the Fan, and now he is what he is. 40 years in the business and in the Hall of Fame. Any like critiques he had, like, any memorable like critique moments? Like, you talked about how he said, "Don't do this." Was he ever like, "Don't do this again," or ever a mistake you made? He's like, "Keith, no, you're wrong."
No, no, we haven't had any moments like that where I get put in timeout or anything like that. But yeah, just certain dials of like more emotion in certain spots. Like I came out of when you come out of the minor leagues, like you get in such a rhythm doing minor league games that like it's not important until the ninth inning in a minor league game because so and so pitcher's got to throw his 60 pitches or this and that, and there's not like bullpen moves. So I was just very much chilled and relaxed until it was like the eighth or ninth inning, and then I'd get intense. And he really showed me that, hey, the third inning, the fifth inning, like that could be the game. And I just had to wake up a little bit more to that because I was just in such a doldrum of the minor leagues. So just more emotion, more emoting in certain spots. He's helped me with. I mean, little things like, hey, if you have a good story to tell, save it for when the other team is hitting. When the Mets are hitting, people want to hear the Mets hitting, and I'm like, well, duh, like, got it, easy. Like those kind of tweaks are so helpful. I mean, there was a Nimmo catch that he just say punch it up a little bit more at the top of his catch. There's just like technical things like that. The things that they've had to like pull me back on is like sometimes you get too wordy or over describe something, just simplify here and there. But those moments are great because you know Howie's a child of Marv Albert, and Marv Albert is a child of Marty Glickman, and now I'm on that list, right? Like I'm getting advice from people who have gotten advice from the greats of all time, and anything. I mean, when you're young like me, like anybody would be in the booth, like, "Hey, how am I doing? Like, what are you hearing?" And they're like, "No, you're doing fine. Keep going." And then every once in a while, they'd say, "Okay, I've heard this. I've heard this. I've heard this." And so that's the other good part too is like they've been Howie wants everything to be organic. He always talks about that. I'm not going to oversell teaching you. I'm going to let you do your thing. I'm going to let you grow into you because you still need a lot of reps. I needed a lot of reps. That's what we all need. And then the coaching has been strategic, and I've loved it.
Does sitting next to Howie and doing these games, like, you look back to when you were calling minor league games and those nights you were eating ramen noodles because the pay was just dirt, and it had to be late on some bills. Is it all worth it now? Like, do you
Oh
do you
man,
sit? I mean, you got to sit back and pinch yourself. And now this is kind of the swan song year. Now you'll go on and do it; it'll be great. But this kind of year, I feel like you're gonna soak in every one of those 84 games, and hopefully more. Assuming we make the playoffs. And listen, can this team win the freaking World Series for Howie? I know. I think Howie said Carlos Mendoza texted him, "We're gonna win the World Series for you." Can the Mets go on a special run this year and win for Howie? Because there would be no other better way to close it than doing that.
yeah, he's talked about that, and that's been the thing. Like in the booth, how much time does he have left? He always said, "I just want if they win it, I'm gone." Right? Like that's it. and he's been waiting and waiting and waiting. And I think it's just he realized like it's just so hard to win it all. The playoffs have expanded. There's more teams in it, so there's more chance of this and that. But you need some magic to happen, right? I just love that clip the other day. I saw Carlos Mendoza hugging Omar Lopez, the manager of Venezuela. Those two work together, right? Maybe Mendy can bookend it, right? Venezuela, his home country, wins the WBC. The Mets ride into this season. They win the World Series for Howie Rose. I mean, why not, right? Like Howie's special. Howie always rises to the challenge, always rises to meet the magic moment on the air. He's kind of setting up fate for himself here, and I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, this is the motivational message the Mets needed. Like Juan Soto talking about Kodai Senga's our ace, and the Mets look ready. They're fairly healthy, knock on wood, going to the season. Well, they needed Howie's retirement message to really push them over the edge to be like, all right, it's showtime. But like I said in the first half, I didn't finish my question, but you pinch yourself. You're going from those minor league moments where you're making a nickel to now in the big leagues and about to take over full time in a year for Howie Rose.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. You get to a spot, I think, in the minor leagues. Most minor league guys do, where you feel like, okay, I've been down here a while. I've gotten good feedback. I'm ready to go. And you work with different people, and you put the headset on, and you work with somebody else, and you feel like, okay, I'm the best person wearing a headset right now. And that's not a knock on anybody. It's just like you need that next challenge. And putting the headset on for the first time next to Howie, it was like, boom, my brain like the brain scan probably lit up, right? Let's go. Here we go. He's going to challenge you. He's going to take you to another place, another level, and that's what he demands excellence. And I got into this to see like, can I do it? Like, am I going to screw it up or like, can I do? I love the challenge of learning how to do this, and so I've loved the fact that like he's unbelievably good, and I am going to steal as many of his magical talents as possible so I can maybe be as good when I'm 70 like he is. So but it's been pinched me. I mean, the Pete Alonso call in Milwaukee, like I in the moment I'm like, holy bleep, he just that was Mato 2.0. Like I just heard it. And then I realized I got to speak now. It's my turn to talk. Like that's I've had those moments with him in the booth. Like you just get caught up like a listener. Like I grew up like, whoa, that Howie just made that call, but now I'm working with him, and so I have to talk and I have to go back and forth. And he's been so supportive in that role because it could be super intimidating to work with Howie Rose as a 29-year-old when I got the job. But it's been great, and it's helped. He expects a lot out of me, and I hopefully have met that challenge, and I hope to keep doing that because once you can do that, and once you're on equal footing, then you have fun, which is what we've had for the last 3 years.
Yeah, I mean it's been a remarkable run, and it's sad to see him go. It is like it's. I mean, it's like he's dying, but he's not. Like,
No,
it's like
he's not dead. He's very much going to be there on Thursday
a
against
part of my
Pittsburgh. There's
fandom
no
is dying. I assume he's gonna come back and call a few games a year. He's gonna have that itch, and maybe it's anytime they're in Florida, he's down there already. He calls those, but he'll be back for retirements. He'll be back for opening day. And he'll always be there, which is so cool. You're watching Mets Daily. Hit that thumbs up. Subscribe below. Follow me at Jake Brown Live. Go follow Keith Rad at Keith Rad with 2 A's. Yeah, I guess we'll turn the page to the Mets season, which is hard to do because I enjoy reminiscing about how he put in the books. Have you thought about like a signature call? Like if you take over full time, is that something that's crossed your mind of like what's my put in the books?
Yeah, I mean those things happen again. It's all organically. If I came out with some line when the Mets won, like on the road, I'll do the last out. Like if I came out with some line, immediately everybody would go, "Well, what is that? What is he trying to do? Is he trying? Does this guy think he's Howie?" So you have to let those things happen, and even put it in the books took a second, right? I mean, Howie had different calls for that, and he kind of tweaked it along the way. He had a TV call, that's a goner that he thought, not loving it. So you have to experiment constantly and then get to a point where something it lands. And so, yeah, I mean, you're always working on that, but I've been in this role. It's Howie's booth still, even though I've done every single game for the last 3 years, and it will stay Howie's booth until his last day. And then once it's time for somebody else to do it, other things will pop up. But people have asked me, "Are you gonna put it in the books?" Never. I am not an idiot. No, that is only Howie's thing.
I mean, you could say it and then be like, in the words of the great Howie Rose, you could put this game in the books or something. Just refine it a little bit, as long as you credit him. It's about crediting it today. A lot of people taking content without credit. As long as you
Those
credit the man.
aggregators, those damn aggregators.
Damn, like what the guys on Twitter, the I don't even want to say Dove and all those people on Twitter, the worst accounts. ML football, all those damn accounts who are taking everyone's content. The Mets season is 6 days away. Can't wait to be back in city. I'll have to do a review with both of you. One final swan song review. Everyone's gonna be coming for it. Everyone's gonna be going to the booth saying hi to him one final time, and you'll be like, "Hey, I'm Keith. Hey, I'm here too."
I'm pumped. Like, okay, think about that. How he's touched Mets fans since like the late '80s, right? We're going on 40 years here. Think of all the people, the important people that have grown up to like government jobs and actors and celebrities. Like, I'm kind of excited to see who's going to pop in the booth this year, right?
Oh yeah,
Hey,
you're gonna have some
Howie,
A-listers.
it's Leonardo DiCaprio walked in. Oh, I didn't know you were a Met fan. Like it's going to be somebody crazy coming in.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have a con towards the end of the year and see the list of names that came in. Like, you're gonna have, Jerry Seinfeld, of course. His suite is right down there anyway. You're gonna have Hank Azaria, who will be on this show on April 14th. So I'm excited to have Hank on the show. He's actually a viewer. He told me when I saw him in Delta that he's seen either clips or something. So shout out to Hank. But it's gonna be great, the list of names that do come in there. And the Mets season, man, this kind of got me sad, but also a little excited. Like, let's go. Like, let's win for Howie. Because I think this team, there's a chip on their shoulder. I think they have the right personality. I think they have the right amount of fire and winners in this clubhouse now. I say a lot of times, the guys who left here, let's be honest, they weren't winners. They didn't win in their careers. Now they have guys who are coming off World Series appearances. They have guys who have been consistently in the playoffs. They have an ace who was in the playoffs almost every year in Freddie Peralta. That I think this team has the right mix of pieces. Disregarding the Dodgers' greatness, we know they're incredible and they're a superstar world team. I think this team has the pieces to have a special 2026 season.
Yeah, I just being around them, seeing how they're operating now, just imagining what this lineup's going to look like in these last few days of spring training. You start to actually see what 1 through 9 looks like in these spring training games, at least for a few innings. And I'm mentally preparing for somewhere in the 90 win range. I don't think that's crazy to say.
No,
because even the team last year, if you redid it, if you hit F5 refresh on 2025, they probably win a couple more games. And now that team has gotten even better. They're going to be boring. They're going to be so boring. They're going to run the bases, Jake. They're going to double steal. They're going to go first to third, and they're going to play fundamentally sound baseball. They're going to throw the ball to the right base. They're going to make the right play when it's crunch time. Those little boring things are going to win you 5 or 10 more games. Plus, they're going to be super fun to watch offensively. The part that I'm kind of a little bit skeptical on is the starting rotation can be great, but if you go if, I think Freddie Peralta is the only guy that you don't say if. He's the only steady presence in there. But the positive thing is everybody can have a good if. I think the thing that will help the pitching staff is the defense. Those Milwaukee teams would always come into Citi Field and you go, Colin Ray has a 4 ERA and he just went 6 scoreless. Like, how did that happen? It's because of your ERA is a lot based on who's playing defense behind you, right? So I think the defense got better. That'll make the pitching staff better. And there might be like almost surprising invisible ways that they win. And that's super weird to say, but just they'll be better with cutting down 90 feet defensively and making certain plays that maybe in the last few years they weren't making.
And boring wins are fine with me. I'm the king of the bunt. The bunt is my favorite play in baseball. So, if the Mets average a bunt a game, I'm fired up. And, the reality is they have situational hitters. They have guys who've had success with runners in scoring position. Last year, they were like the worst situational team in baseball. Like, I've still lost sleep of Tyrone Taylor still at third against Cleveland and not scoring. Like, I did a Jake Boy breakdown of that moment of how they didn't send him and how he didn't score. And, want to talk about Pete mentions we were 1 win away. Well, that was the game right there. That's still the one game to me that they're in the playoffs. If Tyrone scores on that play, the relay is dropped by Carlos Santana, who's 40 years old. Like, I lose, I'm obsessed. I lose sleep over those. So, I'm excited to see this team. Yeah, listen, Sean Manaea, worried about the velo. This is a guy who, he relies a lot on his off-speed stuff. He relies a lot on command and not walking guys. 3 to 4 miles an hour is a lot. Now, it's spring training, but you have a lot of guys who are throwing, Kodai Senga's hitting 97, 98 in spring training. So I don't want to pull it's not Ray Ramirez, but the medical staff should have took care of the bone chips last year. But I have a fear that Mania is headed for the injury list this year, and if not, he's gonna probably be headed for the bullpen. I think the good thing, Keith, is that the Mets have Tobias Myers, who's a Swiss Army knife for this team.
Yeah, they are deep for these certain reasons. I will say, Sean, just being around him and seeing him in spring, like he had that smile on his face. He's been positive. He seems like himself because he's such a big part of the clubhouse when he is himself. But the velo is concerning. I mean, just straight up. I mean, if you don't throw as hard, you have to be perfect. And yes, he threw four, almost perfect innings against the Marlins the other day. But think about any big league lineup for 6, 7 innings. Like you have to, if you throw 88, you have to be perfect. And that's really hard to do. The margin of error is so small. So I'm a little bit concerned about it. You can add a few more ticks of velocity, but like you'd like to see that 2 or 3 pitches in spring training and say, okay, Lise, I have it in the tank. I'll show it in the season. So TBD on that. But that's kind of made me squirm in my chair a little bit. That's one of those ifs, right? That may not go so well. But yeah, it's frightening. But then you have Senga right on the other side who's throwing 99, which is what he should be doing. And that's a nice positive.
He's looked great, and I think what you're going to see is Mania Myers piggyback M&Ms. It's going to be M&M sponsored by M&Ms. Get the sponsorship. Give them out to the first 15,000 fans. By the way, can we get back to the first 25,000 fans? I'm not trying to wait in a line down the Roosevelt Ave waiting for a gnome or a bobblehead. Like enough of the Uncle Stevie. You got the money. Let's get back to the first 25,000 fans. Get it instead of first like 12,000 fans. We're like penny pinching bobbleheads out here. So that would be my complaint. And I get back to all XL. They went back. I don't know if the shirts will be back to XL, but the fat shaming's got to stop. I mean, the food they're serving at these stadiums, Keith. I mean, we get the Mets all these now. The amount of 9 hot dog, 9 beers, 9 innings you have, you wouldn't fit into a double XL at this rate. You're going to be shopping at the big and tall store if you're eating at Citi Field all the time. So let's stop fat shaming and give out more bigger shirts and more bobbleheads. All right, you said around 90 wins. We'll close with that. Is this are the New York Mets winning the division?
I think the thing that really helps is when the Atlanta Braves lose players every single day to suspension and injury, and the Philadelphia Phillies are starting to lose guys to suspension and injury. That helps when you're trying to beat those guys out. Mets have won the division twice this century. Okay, it doesn't happen very often, so I can't sit here and say they're going to win the division because they have to prove that they're going to win the division. But I do like their chances a lot. You have to play better than the other two, and the fact that the other two are starting out of the gate a little bit rough, I think that really does help. But winning the division would be nice. It's possible. They just it's hard to do that. It's really hard to do that. I think they can, but let's not sit here and think, oh, it's easy. They'll definitely win the division. They'll meet the Dodgers in the NLCS and they'll go win the World Series. Like, that's great. But as we know in baseball, it's never that easy.
Well, that's baseball, Susan. They're winning the division. I'm calling it now. I forgot to mention I know you got to bounce, but the games being heard from the seats, we didn't even discuss this. What is the process? Now, I texted you about this. What is it? You listen through the ballpark app? How does it work?
Yeah, so the ballpark app is where you get your tickets to go in. Right there on the homepage, from what I'm told yet, and again, it'll start on Thursday. Is you get your headphones in. It's Sports Bug. It's right in the app. You don't have to download something new. They wanted to make sure that you didn't download another app and have to get bogged down with signing up for this and that. And so it's going to be next to instantaneous. I know that there's been a lot of old school baseball fans that either have a radio or they're listening to the game and it's 7-8 seconds delay. This is going to be like ball hits the glove of the catcher. You hear like that little half-second delay. It'll feel like nothing. So for those that like to sit in the stands and have somebody tell you the story, Howie, myself, and Pat will all be there for you this year. I love it because when I go to a game and I don't hear something in my ear, a commentator talking to me, something's missing. So luckily now that nothing will be missing if you're sitting there.
So through the app, you click it and it'll be playing, and you have to be in the geolocation of the ballpark for it to work, right?
Yes. This is not going to be, you can't be sitting in your house in Merrick or in
In Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
Manalapan, yeah, right. You have to be in the stadium. It's the geolocation is like right over the stadium.
That is cool when you're there, especially people who go solo. Like I go to some games by myself because I run into 1,000 people I know. So sometimes it's nice to go myself and not be boggled down. It's gonna be nice. You have one ear, especially like an afternoon. If you're playing hooky, you're going a Wednesday afternoon, 1 o'clock game. You got in your ear, the sun is shining. I mean, that's what baseball is all about. 9 hot dogs, 9 innings, and 9 innings with Keith RAAD and Howie Rose and Pat McCarthy in the booth. Cool moment. At Keith RAAD, make sure you listen to the Mets while you're at the game, or if you're not at the game, listen on the go on Mets Radio 880. Keith, we'll catch up with you at Citi Field this year. We'll do another food review. I'll pick another item. Legacy Catering. Mookie Wilson getting his catering company in there. Although, to be honest, this smoked pulled chicken is not like a novelty item. I'll definitely eat it, of course. But I'll find another novelty because that burger with the double bacon bourbon smash, whatever that was, we might have ended up in the toilet in the fourth inning, but it was damn good.
Bring it to the booth. We'll do it. Bring it to the booth, Jake. You're always welcome to bring in whatever you want. You're walking around the last year, 2 years ago. You're walking around with a Shake Shack case. You were handing them out like Oprah. I'm like, I love this guy.
You get a Shake Shack. You get a Shack. You get a Shack. Well, tell Howie his almost son will bring him something unhealthy. So to make sure when I text you when I'm coming that he reserves an unhealthy meal for his almost son, Jake Rose. Or unborn fetus. Although I look like I shave this and I look like a fetus, so it's fine. Keith, looking forward to seeing you. Let's go Mets. Final year with Howie. It's going to be great. We're looking forward to hearing you both on the call, and we're looking forward to this season. Thank you for coming on Mets Daily.
Love a fetus dismount, Jake. Always good to talk to you.
That's enough fetuses for today, folks. You got to go take care of a kid. I got my nephew banging on the door here. We'll talk to you on Monday. Have a great weekend. Opening day next week. Let's go Mets. We'll talk to you next week right here on Mets Daily.